So hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today let's talk about estimation of project cost and benefits. So let's go. So unang-una kailangan nating intindihin ang project statement. So ano nga ba ang ipinapakita nito? Dito natin makikita kung saang year naka-indicate ang investment or eto. So usually pinipili nila either year 0, pwede nilang i-indicate at year 0 or pwede din at year 1. Ano nga ba ang ipinapakita nito? Dito natin makikita kung saang year naka-indicate ang investment. So usually pinipili nila either year 0 or year 1 para ipakita yung puhunan. Pero tandaan, wala pa itong earnings. Ipapakita rin ito ang timing ng benefits. Halimbawa, kung nag-invest tayo sa year 0, so magkakaroon tayo ng kita at year 1. Yun. Pero pag nag-invest tayo at year 1, magkakaroon tayo ng kita at year 2. Okay. Kaya simple lang, ang project statement ay parang calendar ng project kung kailan lumalabas ang pera at kailan nagsimulang bumalik ang kita. So, sa project statement, nakikita rin natin yung comparison ng cost and benefits. Pinapakita kung kailan lumalabas ang pera, cost, at kailan bumabalik ang benefits. And then, ang working capital, kasama na rito ang perang kailangan para paikutin ang operation ng project like pambili ng stocks, maintenance, at etc. Kaya, pwedeng sabihin na ang project statement ay parang timeline ng project. Kasi nga, dito natin makikita kung kailan nilabas ang puhunan, kailan nagsimula ang operation, at kailan pumasok ang kita. So, take note, yung year 0 at year 1, depende yan sa'yo kung ano ang gagamitin mo. Year 0 or year 1 to indicate kung kailan nagsimula ang investment. So, during that year, wala pang returns. Ang return ay matatanggap mo lang after a year. So, kung year 0, year 1, kung year 1, year 2. Ngayon naman, pag-uusapan natin ang project life. Una, dapat natin itong i-identify kasi kailangan nating malaman kung hanggang kailan tatagal ang project. So, dalawa ang babasihan natin. Technical life at yung economic life. Technical life, ito yung kung hanggang kailan kayang gumana ang equipment. At ang economic life naman kung hanggang kailan kumikita ang project. So, tandaan, kapag ang gastos, ito, kapag ang, wait lang, kapag ang gastos, ito, kapag ang gastos sa pagpapatakbo ay mas mataas na kaysa sa kita, doon na natatapos ang economic life ng project. Ngayon, paano kung mas maikli ang economic life? Ito, kaysa sa technical life, dyan papasok ang tinatawag na terminal value. Ibig sabihin, kahit na pwede pang gumana ang equipment, kung hindi na siya kumikita, doon na natin ititigil ang project. Pero dahil may value pa ang equipment o assets, pwede pa itong ibenta. Yung resale value na iyon ang tinatawag na terminal value. At idinadagdag natin ito sa cash flow sa huling taon ng project. Halimbawa, may machine na kayang tumagal ng 15 years. Yan yung technical life ng machine, 15 years. Pero sa 10 years, mas malaki na ang gastos kaysa sa kita. So titigil tayo sa year 10. Pero dahil pwede pa itong ibenta second hand, yung makukuha natin doon ay terminal value. So, project life shows how long the project can keep working and making money. Kung hindi na siya kumikita, we stop the project and add the resale value of the equipment. Ngayon naman, pag-usapan natin ang constant price. Kapag sinabi natin constant prices, ibig sabihin, ini-ignore natin ang inflation. So, adjusting without inflation. Assumption dito na lahat ng presyo, costs man o revenues ay tataas ng pare-pareho. Kaya lahat ng computation ay nakabase sa isang chosen year na tinatawag nating base year. So, base year. Gumagamit tayo ng one fixed year's value of money. So, ito yung ating base year. Parang sinasabi natin na lahat ng presyo ay frozen sa value ng pera noong year na yon. Halimbawa, kung ang base year natin is 2025, halimbawa, example, at ang isang machine ay nagkakahalaga ng 1 million pesos noong 2025, kahit umabot pa yan sa 2026, 2027, o 2028, ang isusulat pa rin natin ay 1 million. Hindi na natin i-a-adjust ang price sa inflation. Pero take note, pero may limitation ito. Hindi lahat ng cost o revenues ay pare-parehong gumagalaw kasama ng inflation. Halimbawa, tax allowances, fixed interest loans, o salaries. Iba-iba ang galaw nila. At may mga items tulad ng oil na mas mabilis tumaas ang presyo kaysa sa iba. So, kaya in short, constant prices is estimating project costs and benefits using one fixed year's value of money, ignoring inflation. Mas simple ang computation pero hindi ito laging eksakto sa totoong future cost or revenues kasi nga we ignore inflation. Ngayon naman, pag-usapan natin ang relative price change o pagbabago ng presyo kumpara sa inflation. Ano ang ibig sabihin nito? Ipinapakita nito kung gaano kabilis tumaas ang presyo ng isang particular na produkto kumpara sa pangkalahatang inflation. Halimbawa, kung ang inflation ay 2%, halimbawa ang inflation ay 2%, at ang presyo ng langis ay tumaas, price ng oil tumaas ng 10%. Ibig sabihin, ang relative price change natin, relative price is equal to 10% minus 2% equals 8%. So, ito, pwede mo na lang gamitin ang equation na to kaysa sa dito. Kasi approximately equal na rin lang naman sila. So, ibig sabihin, sa example natin, 8%, mas mabilis tumaas ang presyo ng langis ng 8% kumpara sa ibang bilihin. So, bakit ito mahalaga? Bakit kailangan nating malaman ang relative price change? Para makita natin kung aling produkto o gastos ang mas malaki ang epekto kaysa sa normal inflation gaya ng gasolina, bigas o kuryente. Sa madaling sabi, relative price change ay ang totoong dagdag ng presyo ng isang produkto kapag ibinawas na ang inflation. So ito yung relative price change. Now let's talk about how to prepare a project cost estimate, especially during the feasibility and detailed design phase. Bago magsimula ang isang project, hindi pwedeng hula-hula lang ang gastos. Kailangan nating i-identify kung ano ang project, hatiin ito sa parts, i-classify ang bawat part, at i-schedule kung kailan ito itatayo, gagamitin, at i-maintain. Pagkatapos nito, papasok ang mga specialists like the cost estimator. Siya ang magkukompute ng actual cost tulad ng materials, labor, equipment. Then, papasok din ang financial analyst. Ito. Dito na tayo. Financial analyst. Yan. Siya naman ang nag-check kung financially viable ang project, tinitingnan ang profit, cash flow, at ROI or return on investment. Then, economist, siya ang tumitingin sa mas malawak na impact ng project, kung sustainable ba ito at kung panalo rin ang lipunan, hindi lang ang investors. In short, ang layunin nito ay siguraduhin na ang project ay well-planned, realistic at justified bago pa man ito simulan. Example, building a greenhouse for vegetable production. First, identify the project. So, ang project natin ay magpapatayo ng greenhouse para sa high-value vegetables tulad ng lettuce, bell pepper, at tomato. Then, i-identify natin yung mga components. Greenhouse structure, meron tayong frame, kailangan natin ng roof, ng plastic covering, kailangan rin natin ng irrigation systems. So, pipes, pumps, water tanks are needed. Environmental controls, kailangan natin pumili ng fans, shading nets, and sensors. Kailangan rin natin ng seeds and planting materials, labor, para sa construction, sa planting at sa maintenance, at electricity and water supply. So, yan yung mga individual project components. Now, let us classify the components. First is the capital cost. So, ito yung mga one-time cost lang, like the greenhouse, the irrigation, and the controls. Ang operating cost na naman, yan yung mga seeds, fertilizers, labor, at utilities. Then, schedule na natin. Magsi-schedule na tayo. Ang construction is for 3 months, and then ang operation ay continuous. Mag-harvest tayo every 45 to 60 days. Then, ang maintenance is yearly repairs for plastic cover, for pumps and fans. Then, after that, i-estimate na yung ating mga costs. So, halimbawa, total investment natin sa paggawa ng greenhouse is 800,000 pesos. Materials na yan plus labor. Then, sa financial analyst, kailangan ating i-assume or ating i-compute yung magiging possible revenue natin. So, like 120,000 per month from harvest. Then, yung expenses natin is 50,000 per month. Then, yung net income natin is 70,000 per month. So, meron tayong ROI payback period na every 12 months. So, sa ganitong proseso, malinaw kung saan gagastusin ang pera, gaano katagal bago mabawi ang puhunan, at kung sustainable ba ang project. So, ito yung step-by-step na paggawa ng project cost estimate. It's in a detailed feasibility or design. Now, let's talk about how project costs are classified and expressed when preparing a project cost estimate. So, first is the choice of currency. Kapag nag-e-estimate tayo ng cost, kailangan munang mag-decide kung anong currency ang gagamitin. So, we have the domestic currency and the foreign currency. So, ang domestic currency, ito yung local money ng bansa tulad ng Philippine peso. And then yung foreign currency, ginagamit kapag may international trade tayong gagawin, loans o imported goods gaya ng US dollars, euros, or yen. Example, kung nasa Pilipinas ka, ang labor cost ay babayaran sa Philippine peso. Pero ang imported greenhouse equipment ay naka-price sa US dollars. So, second categories of cost is the domestic currency costs. Ito yung binabayaran natin gamit ang local money. Example, unskilled labor, lokal na buhangin, ganun, graba, kahoy. And then yung foreign currency cost, yung binabayaran gamit ang foreign money. Example, imported greenhouse plastic, irrigation pumps galing Japan, climate sensors. And ang mga tradables, mga produkto na pwedeng i-trade internationally. Example, yung mga steel pipes, fertilizers, greenhouse plastic. Yung mga non-tradables naman, mga produkto o serbisyo na hindi madaling i-trade internationally. Kadalasan lokal lang. Example, yung local construction labor, land rental, electricity, local transport. So, bakit mahalaga ito? para malaman natin, para alam ng project planners kung gaano karami ang kailangang local versus foreign currency. Para matansya ng financial analyst ang currency risk kung sakaling magbago ang exchange rates, para makita ng economist kung gaano kalaki ang suporta ng project sa local economy or the non-tradables, at kung gaano kalaki ang reliance sa imports or tradables. So in short, project cost estimates don't just say how much. They also show in what currency and in what category the costs belong. Now, let's talk about the types of project costs kapag gumagawa tayo ng comprehensive cost estimate. Letter A is the investment cost. Ito yung one-time upfront costs para maitayo ang project. Kasama dito ang civil works. Where is my pen? Civil works, mga construction ng buildings, greenhouse frame, foundations. Electrical works, ito yung mga wiring, lighting, pumps, and fans. Yung mga mechanical works like irrigation system, motors, ventilation fans. Engineering and other professional services like mga design fees, consultants, surveyors. Then yung startup cost like mga permits, registration, initial training, ang vehicle and equipment, ito yung mga tractors, delivery trucks, water pumps. Ang labor naman, ito yung mga skilled at unskilled workers para sa construction. Ang other, mga contingencies like mga unexpected costs. Example, ang pagpatayo ng greenhouse ay nagkakahalaga ng 800,000 para sa materials, labor, at permits. Dito naman tayo sa B, recurrent cost. Ito naman ang regular or ongoing expenses habang nagpapatakbo ng project. Kasama dito ang salaries ng staff, caretakers, technicians, operation and maintenance costs, repairs at servicing ng equipment, fuel para sa generators at vehicles, consumables, ito yung mga seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, packaging, other utilities tulad ng tubig at kuryente. So example, gumagastos ng 50,000 kada buwan para sa seeds, electricity, labor at maintenance. So yan yung mga recurrent cost. So we have also salvage values. Ito ang halaga ng equipment o assets kapag nag-end na ang project at ibinenta. Example, pagkatapos ng 10 years, pwede pa ring ibenta ang steel frame ng greenhouse bilang scrap o ibenta ang equipment second hand. Yung financial charges naman, ito naman ang cost na may kinalaman sa financing at government requirements. Kasama dito ang taxes and duties. Import tax, VAT, property tax, interest during construction kapag may loan, babayaran mo ang interest kahit hindi pa kumikita ang project. Example, import tax na 30,000 plus loan interest na 100,000 pesos habang ginagawa ang greenhouse. So in short, ang project cost estimates ay hindi lang tungkol sa gastos sa paggawa, kundi pati na rin sa operating cost, financial cost, financing cost, at value ng equipment sa huli. So this gives us a complete picture of how much a project really costs. So now let's talk about identifying costs items in a project. So number 1 is the system costs. Kung ang project ay bahagi ng mas malaking, where's my pen? Ayan. If a project is part of a larger system, kung ang project ay bahagi ng mas malaking system, kailangan mong isama ang gastos ng iba pang related investments para gumana ang project. Example, power plant na kailangan din ng transmission lines at distribution network. Highway section na magiging useful lang kung may connecting roads. Greenhouse project na kailangan ng irrigation source, storage facility, o access road. Number 2 is the sunk cost. So, ito yung gastos na nagawa na o gastos na meron ka na kahit wala ang project. Hindi na ito isinasama sa cost estimate. Example, kung pagmamay-ari mo ang lupa, hindi mo na isasama ulit ang purchase cost. Kung may soil survey ka na dati, hindi na ulit ito bibilangin. So some cost that would exist without or with the project should be excluded. Then next is the working capital. Ito ang pondo para sa araw-araw na operations. Sa financial analysis, kasama dito ang inventories, securities, cash, receivables. Sa economic analysis, inventories lang ang kasama. Ang importante, yung changes in working capital, gaya ng dagdag na seeds, fertilizers o packaging kapag lumaki ang operation, example, kailangan ng 100,000 pesos para sa seeds, fertilizer at packaging supplies, that's working capital. Lastly is the transfer payments. Ito yung bayad na umiikot lang sa loob ng ekonomiya, hindi tunay na resource cost. Kasama sila sa financial analysis para sa investor. Hindi kasama sa economic analysis para sa lipunan. So again, ang transfer payments is kasama sa financial analysis, hindi kasama sa economic analysis. Example, kung nag-import ka ng greenhouse plastic at kung nag-import ka ng greenhouse plastic at nagbayad ng 20,000 pesos import duty, sa financial analysis, cost ito kasi lumabas sa bulsa mo. Sa economic analysis, hindi siya isasama kasi pera lang na lumipat mula sa iyo papunta sa gobyerno. So in short, system costs include all needed investments. Yung sunk cost exclude kasi existing na. Yung working capital focus sa changes. Yung transfer payments kasama sa financial, excluded sa economic. Let's look at two more important considerations, the depreciation and external costs. So first, ang depreciation, this one, and amortization. These are accounting practices. Ang depreciation means the gradual reduction in the value of an asset, like greenhouse equipment, losing value over 10 years. Ang amortization is similar but usually applies to things like patents, licenses, or loan repayments. In accounting, depreciation is recorded as an expense, but in project analysis, we already counted the full costs of the asset at the time of purchase. If we also include depreciation each year, that would be double counting. For example, if you buy a greenhouse fan for 50,000 pesos, you record that full 50,000 right away. You don't add 5,000 every year for depreciation in your cost estimate. So second is the external costs. These are costs that the project doesn't directly pay for, but society does. For example, air pollution from a factory, water pollution from fertilizer runoff, or noise pollution from heavy construction. If no regulation exists, these remain external costs and the project doesn't pay. But if the government imposes charges or requires pollution control measures, then they become internalized costs and must be included in the project. For example, if fertilizer runoff from your greenhouse causes pollution and there's no regulation, it's excluded. But if the government charges 10,000 pesos per year for pollution fees or requires a wastewater tank, then that cost must be included. So the key takeaway is this: depreciation and amortization are excluded since the cost was already counted at purchase. External costs are usually excluded too, unless they are internalized by regulation or project design. Okay, now let's talk about base cost in project cost estimation. What are base costs? They are simply the best possible estimate of what a project will cost at today's prices without assuming any changes in price, quantity, or project design. So this is based on three assumptions. First, that quantities are accurate. Here, where's my pen? For example, you already know you'll need 1,000 bags of cement, 50 rolls of greenhouse plastic, and 5 workers for 3 months. Second, that prices are stable. Here, will not change. That is the base cost. Meaning, cement will stay at 280 pesos per bag and labor will remain at 500 pesos per day. And the third, that the project will be implemented exactly as planned. So no delays, no design changes, no surprises. For example, the greenhouse is completed in 3 months with no overruns. So why does this matter? Base costs serve as the starting point for your project budget. But in real life, prices may rise due to inflation, or unexpected problems may occur, like delays or changes in design. That's why after base costs are calculated, analysts usually add contingencies to cover those risks. For example, if the base cost of a greenhouse project is estimated at 800,000 pesos for today's prices of materials, labor, and equipment, that would be the final cost if everything goes perfectly. But in practice, you would also plan for possible price increases, delays, or extra requirements. Ngayon naman, pag-usapan natin ang contingency allowances. Ito ang mga dagdag na pondo na inilalagay sa base cost estimate para mas maging realistic ang total project cost. So, contingencies are extra funds para sa uncertainties, risk, o unexpected changes habang ginagawa ang project. Meron tayong dalawang klase. Ito ang physical contingencies and price contingencies. Yung physical contingencies, ito ay para sa mga uncertainties sa quantity at conditions na hindi sakop ng base estimate. Halimbawa, mas mahina pala ang soil kaysa inaasahan, kaya kailangan ng mas malalim na, halimbawa magpapatayo ka ng isang building at na-notice mo na mahina pala yung lupa, kaya kailangan ng mas malalim na foundation, dagdag na semento o dagdag na bakal. Usually naka-percent ito ng base costs. Yung price contingencies, ito naman ay para sa inflation o pagtaas ng presyo habang tumatakbo ang project. Halimbawa, tumaas ang presyo ng steel ng 8% sa isang taon. Nagtaas ang labor wages o biglang nagmahal ang fuel. So, typical levels for physical contingencies, 5% para sa simple at well-defined works tulad ng road surfacing o canal lining. Then, 10% naman para sa routine works pero may konting unpredictability tulad ng roads, buildings, and pipelines. And yung 15% para sa complex works na mataas ang risk tulad ng power plants, tunnels, o projects sa mahirap na terrain. So ito ay rule of thumb na ginagamit ng World Bank, ng ADB, ng engineering consultants at government planners. Hindi ito fixed law pero widely accepted guideline. Ano ang logic? 5% kapag mababa ang uncertainty, 10% kapag medium uncertainty, 15% o mas mataas kapag high risk. Pero depende pa rin ito sa project type, data reliability, inflation rates, at risk assessment. Example, sa greenhouse project. Yung base cost natin is 800,000. So yung physical contingency natin is 10%, that's 80,000. Yung price contingency is 5%, that's 40,000. So the total project cost estimate is 920,000. So in practice, total project cost is equal to base cost plus physical contingencies plus price contingencies. Ngayon, pag-usapan naman natin ang cost scheduling o ang schedule ng paggastos. So, the definition of cost scheduling ay ang proseso ng pagdidistribute ng project cost sa iba't ibang panahon. Pwedeng taon, quarter, o buwan, imbis na isang pagsakan lang o lump sum. Bakit mahalaga ito? Para makita kung kailan eksaktong gagastusin ang pera. Para maayos ang cash flow planning. Alam kung kailan kakailangan ng pundo. Para matukoy ang loan disbursement o paglabas ng utang. At para magawa ng tama ang financial analysis tulad ng ROI, payback, at interest. So, paano ginagawa? Ang mga project engineers ang magsasabi kung anong bahagi ng proyekto ang gagawin sa bawat yugto. Ang cost estimator naman ang magtatansya kung magkano ang gagastusin sa bawat yugto or sa bawat year or sa bawat buwan. Ganon. Example, we have here hydroelectric project costing $200 million for 4 years. Okay. So sa year 1 is 15%, 30 million. And then sa year 2, 25%, 50 million. And sa year 3 is 40%, 80 million. And sa year 4 is 20%, $40 million. A total of $200 million. Makikita na ang pinakamalaking gastos ay nasa gitnang taon ng year 2 to 3 kasi doon ginagawa ang major civil works. Ganon. So, kaya sa halip na sabihin nating ilan lang, through this cost scheduling, malalaman natin, malinaw nating makikita kapag naka-breakdown kung kailan at saan gagastusin ang bawat bahagi ng budget. Okay, so ngayon mas lalaliman natin ang proseso ng cost scheduling. Hindi lang ito tungkol sa kailan gagastusin, kundi pati kung paano binubuo ang total project cost. So ito yung mga hakbang built up for each project component in the base cost. So mag-build up ng bawat project component sa base cost. Bali hatiin ang proyekto sa parts tulad ng civil works, equipment at labor, tapos tansyahin ang base cost ng bawat isa, ganun. Number 2 is identify foreign and local currency costs separately. Tukuyin alin ang babayaran sa local currency tulad ng labor at local materials at alin ang nasa foreign currency gaya ng imported equipment. So next is the physical contingencies allotted. Magdagdag tayo ng allowance para sa mga hindi inaasahan, gaya ng dagdag na semento, steel, o mas malalim na hukay, gano'n. Then, price contingencies allotted, maglaan ng pundo para sa inflation o pagtaas ng presyo habang tumatakbo ang proyekto. Then, taxes, duties, and other transfer payments quantified. Isama ang buwis, import duties, at iba-iba pang singil ng gobyerno. Interest during construction calculated. Kung may loan, ang project, idagdag din ang interest na binabayaran habang ginagawa pa lang ito. Project cost estimate aggregated to derive total cost estimate. Pagsamahin lahat na base cost plus contingencies plus taxes or duties plus contingencies, ganon, equals total project cost. So, consolidated annual cost estimate, gumawa ng yearly breakdown ng gastos kasama na ang capital cost at operating and maintenance cost o operation and maintenance, O&M. Ganun. So, halimbawa, pag gagawa tayo ng greenhouse project, yung base cost natin is 800,000 pesos. Ang 800,000 pesos na yan is yan yung materials, labor, at equipments. Kailangan lagyan natin ng physical contingency na 10%. So, ang 10% ng 800,000 na base cost natin is 80,000 pesos. At dagdagan rin natin ng price contingency na 5%, which is 40% 40,000 pesos. So, halimbawa, greenhouse project. So, we have this greenhouse project. So, ang ating base cost, ating base cost is 800K. Ganon. And then, ang physical contingency natin is 10%. So, ang 10% ng 800K is 80,000. And ang price contingencies natin is 5%. Yan yung, and that is 40,000. 40,000 of 800K. Ang tax or duties and other transfer payments natin is 30,000. Halimbawa, 30,000. No? And then, yung interest during construction is 50K. So, ang total na project cost, i-add natin silang lahat. Add natin. So, ang total project cost is equal to 1 million. So, ang cost scheduling to ay hindi lang timeline ng gastos, kundi ang detalyadong proseso ng pagbuo ng kabuuang project cost. Let's look here sa table. Una, tandaan natin, ang FC is foreign currency. Ang LC is local currency. At sa table, makikita natin ang mga columns na base cost, physical contingency, price contingency, and the total. Ganun. So, sa base cost, ito ang pangunahing gastos ng proyekto. Nakabase sa presyo at plano sa isang particular na pitsa or petsa. Ganun. January 1996 na prices. So, ang ating base cost is nakabase sa 1996, year 1996 na prices. So, ibig sabihin, frozen ang presyo noong date na yun, hindi pa kasama ang inflation o escalation. Kaya nga, base cost. Pipili tayo ng isang taon na magiging basihan natin without considering the inflation or escalation. So, sa physical contingency, ito ay mga extra na allowance, extra money para sa mga hindi inaasahang pagbabago sa quantity, sa design, or sa scope ng project. So, iba-iba ang porsyento depende sa risk ng bawat component. When the notes say construction period 5 years from 1993 to 2003, so ito yun. Yan. So, normally, ibig sabihin, normally, kung 5 years, dapat year 1 hanggang year 5 lang ang may capital spending. Correct? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dapat, mula 1999 hanggang 2003 lang yung may capital spending. Pero sa table, may capital cost pa rin na lumabas sa year 6. So, ibig sabihin, may kaunting gastos sa construction na tumawid sa 6th year. Maaaring delayed ang delivery ng equipment, may variation orders, o late na billing ng contractor. So, overlap simply means the project was planned. Ganito, ito, ang yung overlap dito. It means na the project was planned for 5 years, 1999 to 2003, pero in reality, some construction costs were still paid even as operations already started in year 6. Parang nagkasabay ng kaunti ang last phase ng construction at ang simula ng operation. Tingnan niyo yung salvage value column. Di ba yung salvage value is the money you recover back at the end of the project's life? Parang resale value siya. Correct? In engineering economics or project cost tables, sa tables, dito, sa tables, katulad nito sa ating picture, yung mga positive costs dito are the cash outflows. So, at yung anything naman that brings money back is treated as a negative cost or cash inflow. So, baliktad sa cash flow timeline or sa cash flow timeline kapag upward yung arrow, that's cash inflow. Pag downward naman, cash outflow. Dito naman sa table, kapag negative yung cash, that is cash inflow. So, inflow. Baligtad lang. Pag positive naman, that is outflow. Yung mga So, it means yung capital is an outflow, the operation and maintenance cost is an outflow, but salvage value is a cash inflow. Ang salvage value dito appears as negative not because it's a loss, but because it reduces the total cost. Yan yung ibig sabihin kung bakit negative siya. Let's look at here sa timeline ng gastos ayon sa annual project cost estimate. 1999 to 2003 construction years, dito lumalabas ang capital cost like materials, labor, equipments. Noong 2004, ito yung transition year. Usually may kunting finishing or commissioning, pero after this wala nang major capital cost, kaya bakante na. Ito, wala na. So, wala nang capital cost. Pagka 2005 to 2023, 2005 mula dito to 2023, project in operation na siya. So, dito na lang mayroong operation or maintaining cost. Like repairs, salaries of operators, utilities, spare parts. 2023, ito yung end of project life. At meron na tayong salvage value sa year 2023. Meron na tayong na-recover na value recorded as negative. So, look at here. Yung ating operation at maintenance cost is 15 million at year 2013. Ibig sabihin, may special or higher expense na nangyari during that year compared sa normal operation and maintenance cost na 3.46 million lang. So, possible reasons kung bakit noong 2013 is mataas yung O&M natin kasi baka merong major maintenance or rehabilitation. After 10 years kasi of operation, 2003 to 2013, may malaking posibilidad na kailangan ng mag-overhaul ng equipment, ng turbines, ng pumps, ng engines, greenhouse, plastic replacement, ganon. So, dito na rin yung nangyayari yung mga replacement of key components. So, some project parts may have 10-year lifespan lang, like the control system, mga lining, mga roofing, batteries, or imported machinery. And maybe it was planned. Sinasama na talaga na at year 10, meron ng malaking operation and maintenance cost na mangyayari para tumagal yung project up to year 20. Kaya ang 15 million pesos sa 2013 ay hindi ordinaryong monthly or annual maintenance, kundi scheduled na siya. Scheduled major repair or replacement para i-extend ang buhay ng project.